Okay, graded your DBQ essays, and I think some of you will be disappointed. So I'm going to go through step by step on what should have been done, and you can do I'll allow it so you can unsubmit it, and you'll be able to rewrite it. Let's start with the fact that some of you did not put your essay here. You left it in the outline form. Okay, so if you did that, you got an automatic low grade. I wasn't going to go through and read your outline. You needed to put it together into the essay. Second, paragraph 1 should only have been about the context and the thesis statement. Now, because there was some confusion on whether to do a 1-to-1 thesis statement or a 2-to-1 thesis statement, as long as you had at least two things, one for and one against, the benefits or the cost of the EU, I gave you full credit for the thesis. If your thesis did not answer the prompt, which was, did the benefits of membership in the EU outweigh the costs, then you got a lower grade. Okay, your context. Let's look at our context again. Our context is set the stage for your paper by supplying your reader with the context of the topic. Your first few sentences of paragraph 1 needed to just talk about time, location, and place. Time were the early 90s when the EU was established. Location, Europe, participants, the 27 member countries. All of these questions should have come, all this information should have come from your background essay. The background essay from Unit 5 that you read about how the EU started and you had questions that went with that. Okay, so that should be 2 or 3 sentences, just giving me the history of the EU. Just when are we talking about? Where did it take place? Who participated? From our Great Migration, DBQ, first quarter, here was an example of what the context would look like. Beginning in 1916 and lasting until 1970, the Great Migration was a period of time when African Americans living in the American South relocated north and west in search of better economic, social, and political opportunities. That gives me the background. That tells me what we're going to be talking about in this essay. Next is the thesis. Again, because the thesis, I said 1-to-1, the paper said 2-to-1, it's okay. Either way, you needed to have at least one argument for it, one argument against it. And those needed to come from the 6 or 7 documents that we analyzed in Unit 6. So a great way to write a formula is starting out X, which is your counter argument, the strongest argument against your prompt. So if you think there were more positive reasons to be a part of the EU than negative reasons, your X would be your strongest point as to the negative of joining the EU. So that can be a sentence. Now your thesis statement ideally could be 1 sentence, or here they have 3. I don't care about that as long as you have the right ratio of positives and negatives. So our X is our counter argument, our strongest point against your stance. A is the strongest point for your argument. If you think the benefits outweigh the cost, you give me your strongest argument there. And B is your next strongest argument. This provides me a roadmap to the paper. It tells me what counter argument you're going to talk about. It tells me what strongest point of your argument. So it's telling me what you're going to talk about. So body paragraph 1 is your counter argument. Body paragraph 2 would be your strongest point toward your argument. Now, we only had to do a counterpoint and our argument for what we think was the answer to the prompt. So don't worry about body paragraph 3. If you put it in the thesis, okay, but no big deal. Here's an example of the EU for the EU. Here would be a good thesis. One disadvantage of membership in the EU is the burden of following rules that a country disagrees with, period. However, okay, so that's my counter argument. I put my counter argument first. However, member nations benefit from stronger international relationships and partnerships and economic partnerships. Therefore, the benefits of membership outweigh the costs. So this tells me, this thesis statement tells me that you're going to talk about the burden of following the rules as a disadvantage and stronger international relationships as an advantage. That's the roadmap. That tells me what your next two paragraphs are going to be about. The paragraphs themselves were very specific. You come up with your topic sentence. What is your counterargument? What are you saying that is an advantage or a disadvantage of joining the EU? Something specific. One, in our thesis, in our example thesis, you would just write one disadvantage of membership in the EU is the burden of following rules that a country disagrees with. That would go right here for your topic sentence. Then you will give me detail and sourcing. This is where a lot of you lost points. Your detail, let me find which one that was, following rules. I think it was E. So in documenting, it talks about Czechoslovakia and Poland, some of the countries not agreeing with taking in so many refugees. So what you would say here is, according to Sylvia Kaufman, in Europe's illegal democracies, you would put that right here, according to So you'd say, according to Sylvie Kaufman's Europe's Illegal Democracies, we go back into the document and find the exact quote, the exact point of this document that we're using to support our topic sentence. You can copy and paste it. Remember, Britain left for economic reasons. These guys don't want to leave the Union. They just refuse to abide by some of their rules. So you can put that right here. And after the detail, you tell me what doc it came from. It came from Doc E. This putting in Doc E tells me when your detail from your article is over, when it's completed. Okay? That's all you put for your detail and sourcing. Okay? You introduce the author and the title. You give me the absolute detail from the article. Then we move on to the elaboration. Remember, the elaboration is a couple sentences, at least two, telling me how this point, this detail supports that topic sentence. Let's copy that topic sentence in there. Straight out here. We can put that right there. Let's clean it up. Okay. Now we elaborate. Having to follow rules that you do not agree with can seem unfair. Some countries in the EU seem to have a smaller voice than other countries. That's two sentences explaining how the detail supports my topic sentence. Finally, our commentary, once again, is just the purpose of the article was to show some countries in the EU do not agree with every rule. That is absolutely your framework, a rough draft for our essay. Okay? When we put this into, this would go in here as our second paragraph. Okay, our first paragraph would have been the context and the thesis statement. Then this, just how it's written, I would change the fonts so that all the fonts are the same, make sure it's not all bolded or underlined. But this would be a perfect paragraph in your final copy. Finally, our pro argument, we go back to the our doc analysis chart to whatever one we agreed with. We said stronger international relationships. So one benefit of the EU would be stronger relationships. And you go into your DBQ, into your documents, and you find the document that supports that. You introduce the source, you give me the detail, you give me the doc letter, just like we did in paragraph 1. I hope that helps understand. If you're going to redo it, when you get into right here, step 2, I want you to create another text box. So you'll go insert text box. Where is it? I guess you can just do table 1-to-1 and start typing. You can label it, rewrite if you want. What I don't want you to do is make your changes within here. I want you to rewrite it if you want your full credit. As always, email me if you have any questions. I will be in the Genius Hour as well. So before you email me with questions, come to Genius Hour, pop into my Genius Hour tomorrow, Monday or Tuesday. And I can work through exactly why you got the points off that you got if you'd like. I'm guessing, looking at the grades, there'll be a lot of you that want to redo this or not. I don't know. All right, thanks.